All right. T.O., we're going to you first on this one. I feel like this one is a little bit of a hot take, but I'm still kind of here for it. All right. Overreaction number 3. Jon Scheyer, he ain't ready for the ACC.
Stop it. Stop. Hey, look, there's growing pains that come with coaching. Like, if you want to look back, I had this conversation this morning. I did a radio hit out of Charlotte this morning. It's like, you got to wait and give my man a little time because there's growing pains. And it's not like Coach K was like easing him into it. Like Jon Scheyer was Coach K's assistant coach all last season. There was no like, hey, I'm going to let you run this. I'm going to let you do this. No, that was Coach K's show. Like, there's going to be some times where he's going to be difficult. I almost want to reach out to him and be like, hey man, are you okay after that NC State game? Did you all see the post-game presser? My man needed a nap. Like, I was a little like, go back and look at his face. He's like, we just got to figure some things out. I was like, poor John, man. He's stressed out of his head. Like, give him time. He's the right guy for the job. We can be as negative as we want about Duke. They're still 12-4. They're still going to be okay. Like, I think NC State's a tournament team.
Yeah, I do too.
I think Wake Forest is a tournament team. I think Purdue is a tournament team. I think Kansas is a tournament team.
T.O., now you're going a step too far.
I think Kansas is a tournament. That's their 4 losses. That's their 4 losses. And they've had some pretty good wins. They beat Ohio State. They beat Xavier. Like,
they're dancing. They're dancing.
They're dancing. Like, they're going to be fine.
Is Wake Forest a tournament team?
I think they'll find a way to get there.
Yep. Their quad 1 situation is pretty nice this year. Like, last year they didn't have any quad 1s. This year they do. They're going to be fine.
They have 2 quad 1 wins. You're right. All right.
So Wake Forest is going to make the tournament this year.
Honestly, I think the biggest takeaway from anything that's going on with Duke right now is, hey, when you got a bunch of freshmen on your roster and a new head coach, it would be nice if your point guard didn't have a fucked up toe.
Dude, let me tell you something. I've dealt with turf toe. That is nothing to sneeze at.
Yes,
like that hurts. Is painful. Like, every pivot, every turn, it hurts. And let's look at it this way too. This kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier today. Like, this extra year of eligibility, that's a really good bunch of freshmen. Now they're playing against 23 and 24-year-old men as opposed to 22-year-old men. Big difference. Like, big difference. Look around the conference. Look around the ACC.
And it also
look around the Big East, Fanta. Bunch of old dudes. Half of them got mortgages.
And
like, it's a bunch of old dudes this year.
And it also doesn't help that, like, this year's freshman class just was not that. You got Derek Lively and Derek Whitehead, who were probably the 2 best freshmen in the recruiting class, right? But they ain't Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett. Like,
that's the reason I was saying how important
Jones. So, like, not every 5-star freshman is the same. Not every number 1 freshman is the same. Same way I said that, like, this year's number 1 team would be like a 7 or 8, the 7th or 8th best team in a different season. This year's number 1 recruit would be like the 7th or 8th best recruit. Here's the perfect example why. The Thompson twins are playing overtime elite, and Scoot Henderson's in the G League Ignite. Imagine if they were on Duke.
If they were at Duke,
well,
if Scoot was at Duke, we'd be having a very different conversation.
Yeah,
that dude can go.
No.
Yeah, I mean, that's why Jeremy Roach was so incredibly important to them, and that's why I thought he would have a good year, and he's had a decent enough year. So,
it's hard. Like, I know Fanta is the biggest anti Jeremy Roach guy on the planet. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. But, like, he was having a good season until, like, this toe thing popped up, and it was Iowa, right? It was the wasn't that the game at the Jimmy V when he heard it? When did he hear? I think it was the Jimmy V, right?
And he had a great game. Yeah, and he had a great game, and they let me know about it in the hallway. I'm glad that Duke listens.
Duke did? Duke let you know?
Oh, yeah. Scheyer,
the players or John?
Scheyer comes up to me in the hallway and looks at me and says, I told you he would be our most important player. I told this was coming the whole time. And then he's like, you see what just happened? He goes, did you watch the game? Did you watch what just happened? I go, he's a great player. And then
John's got some shit to him now. John has some shit to him. He is the nicest guy, but man, he's got some shit to him.
He's got a baby face, man, but he'll let you know.
He's got some stuff to him now. Like,
Jewish
he's
Jordan,
gonna be fine.
Jewish Jordan in high school. He ultra competitor, and that's why he was pissed off about losing NC State. He's gonna be fine. He's so cut out from the right cloth. I think he's the perfect fit for Duke going forward too. Like, he is such a competitor, and doing a feature on him ahead of the season revealed that. Everybody around him said, and like not puff stuff, they're like, there's just no doubt he'll win, and he'll win a lot because he refuses to lose. That's the common thread he has with Mike Krzyzewski. So I'm not saying he's going to be the next Coach K, but I think let's pump the brakes on our overreactions or whatnot. I think Duke's going to be fine. I think it's a result of having freshmen, but I also think, like, for me, the offensive end of the floor for them can be challenging because without Roach running the show, you're now counting on, again, freshmen, and Dariq Whitehead's had ups, had downs. He's had injury, obviously. Injuries affecting this team.
You don't have an initiator, right? And other than
No,
Roach,
they don't.
the only other point guard on the roster is a 17-year-old freshman instead of like a regular freshman. So it was a rough hand that he was dealt. Like that was the one you could deal with injuries if you're Duke. The one guy that could not be hurt is Jeremy Roach, and he's just not himself. All right.
I have something to say though. Don't you dare disrespect Tamir Goodman, Jewish Jordan. Don't you dare disrespect him. Hey, that dude can play too now. That dude can play.
While we're here, this is me. Run the ISO for T.O. T.O., why is Clemson the best team in the ACC? You have 1 minute. Get on your soapbox. Come on. Get on your bandwagon. Let them know. Let them know why Clemson's the best team in the ACC.
You know what happened is they moved arguably their most athletic player to the point guard spot. He had been playing beside Alamir Dawes, who transferred to Seton Hall, and Al has his flaws, but he also has his strengths. Nick Honor goes from Clemson to Mizzou. He's doing fine there. But what happened was you moved those guys out of the way, and Chase Hunter had to slide over the one. So you have this big, strong, dynamic athlete at the point guard position who can guard the point guard position. He can guard the 2, the 3. You have Hunter Tyson, who's taken advantage of his 8th year of eligibility. And in my mind, guys, like that's a first-team All-ACC player right now. He's been incredible. He's had a 31-15 game. I believe it was against NC State a week or two ago. Like, he has been that guy, and they still have that centerpiece that they can run things through in PJ Hall. Clemson is that freaking good. Are they going to win the regular season? I don't know. Their schedule's favorable, though. No trip to Miami, no trip to Cameron Indoor. There's only 3 games on their schedule that I would be like, ooh, that one's going to be tough. The rest are winnable. Like, this team is for real. They're well coached, and they're bigger around the perimeter. The roster fits Brad Brownell much better than the last few seasons when he's trying to play too small, whenever he was 5'9" and 6 foot at the 1 and the 2. Now they're bigger. Now they get to spots faster, and they've gone to the bigger lineup ever since losing from Loyola Chicago. They've gone to a bigger lineup with R.J. Godfrey, Hunter Tyson, and P.J. Hull at the 3, 4, 5. And then they have some athletes at the 1 and 2 with Chase Hunter and whoever else they play at that 2 spot. This is going to be a very good team, a very tough out for any team the rest of the season, and they are that good. They are that good.